that's our.
Yeah. Excellent.
So he's first. Can he wait to get the roll call? What is he up there already?
You want Harvey to do invocation? Yeah, he wants to do that. You want to do invocation?
Well, the mayor's got to ask him.
I sent a message out. I passed a note. For him to ask.
Yep.
Oh, you did?
It's an executive order.
Well, you're the boss.
Now that comes with every price. All right. You guys ready?
Yeah.
All right. Good evening, everybody. It is 7 p.m., Tuesday, March 3rd. Eastpointe City Council regular meeting is called to order. We're going to have the invocation by Councilman Curley, and then we'll go right into our agenda.
How our gracious and indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right. With that, can we have the roll call, please?
Thank you, sir. Councilmember Baker,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Baker, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you're fine. Here.
Councilmember Curley.
Here.
Mayor Kleinfeld is not here. Councilmember Shadlick.
Here.
Councilmember Scott.
Here.
All right. With that, can I get a motion for approval of the agenda?
So moved.
Is there support?
Support.
All right, we have motion and support. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Shadlick.
Yes.
Councilmember Scott.
Yes.
Councilmember Curley.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Baker.
Yes. All right, first thing on the agenda is the presentation for our infrastructure maintenance plan. Mr. Kern?
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and Council. It's that time of year again to present what we're now calling the infrastructure maintenance plan for the city. I've got it up on the screen here. I also passed out the plan to the council members as well. So I'll just briefly go through the plan here and all the updates that have been made since the last year. And this looks at the next 6 years. So we've broken it down between major streets, local streets, water and sewer. So we'll discuss the major streets first. We do annual maintenance programs with the major roads. We do a joint sealing program every 3 years. We do a joint sealing program every year, every 3 years on the major streets. This year we'll be focusing on the local streets for the second year. So we've got a cost in there for a program for the 27-28 fiscal year, and then every 3 years thereafter at $150,000 per year. And then a pavement marking program on the major streets. We're about to complete a pavement marking program on the major streets here. We just awarded that. About to have the pre-construction meeting for that. That'll be taking place this spring. And then we have an amount of $225,000 budgeted for every other year for pavement markings. As far as road reconstruction projects on the major road system, we have the final phase of the 9 Mile Road project coming up. You might have seen that the water main phase of that started today. Starting to mobilize, starting some saw cutting. You'll probably start seeing pipe going in the ground next week on that. That project will overlap between this current budget year and the next, so we have an amount in there for the next budget year to complete 9 Mile. We did add a new project into the list, which is Schroeder from 9 Mile to 10 Mile to do joint and crack sealing as well as a chip seal. That road currently has an asphalt cap on top of it, and it's starting to deteriorate pretty badly. So we did put that into the 27-28 fiscal year as of right now. The city did get federal aid assistance, along with 9 Mile, also got federal aid assistance to do concrete patching on Hayes from Stevens to 10 Mile. That project will take place later this year. We've got the grade inspection meeting with MDOT scheduled here next week, and then we'll be submitting final plans after that to let that project out. So that project will happen later in the summer. $659,250 project, 81.85% of that will be covered under the federal aid assistance. 10 Mile, which I know is another road that needs to be done yesterday. Fortunately, a $3 million earmark has been set to reconstruct 10 Mile from Hayes to Phlox. That earmark has to be spent by 2029. When that came about, we were already talking with the county about doing a heavy rehabilitation project on 10 Mile from Hayes to Kelly, which is on the county's transportation improvement plan to be completed in the 2028 construction season. But we are pushing to try and possibly do advanced construct on that project, and we've been working with the county to see if we can get that pushed up to the 2027 construction season. We'll continue to work on that. But with the earmark portion, we were kind of hoping that would get done earlier, but it's, I think both those projects will probably happen at the same time. Again, that is a county right of way, so it is up to the county, but there is a project coming down the line on that. And then I think at the end of this year, we will be applying for potential projects for federal aid assistance for 2029 through 2031. We did put a couple projects into the plan for 2030 and 2031 that we will apply for, and hopefully, there's a potential of getting, again, 81.85% of the construction costs covered with that. But really the two remaining major streets that you have that have not been addressed are Topher from Beaconsfield to Kelly, which we did apply for federal aid assistance for in the last round of federal aid assistance, and we weren't successful in doing that, so we're hopeful we can get that in the next round. And then Hayes from 9 Mile to Stevens, which was resurfaced last in 2010. Figure that'll, a 20-year design life. By 2031, that will need another resurfacing as well. At that point, all of your major streets will pretty well be addressed. On the local side, every year since 2018, the city has done a local street pavement patching program on the fair rated streets. So every 3 years, we do rate all of the streets. Those that are rated a 4 or 5 out of 10 or a fair rating, we address with the pavement patching program and try to extend the life of the pavement for those streets with getting that completed as we were going to complete one district per year. Again, a joint sealing program, we are doing a joint sealing program on the local streets. This year we'll be focusing on streets in the southwestern corner of the city that hasn't had the pavement patching program since 2018 and 2019. The city got CDBG funding, $150,000 per project to reconstruct Lexington from 9 Mile to Semra. That project will take place late this summer and into the fall after we replace the water main. And then we got money to do Phlox, concrete repairs on Phlox from Haas to 10 Mile. You'll see we had budgeted $200,000 for that project with $50,000 being matched by the city, but the bids on that project came in well under the budget to where that $50,000 is gone. There will be no cost to the city other than the construction administration fees. And then each year beyond this year, we do have a budget in there for future CDBG projects. We did apply for additional CDBG funding for 2027 for a section of Raven between Haas and Forest and a section of Roxana north of 9 Mile for the 2027 year. And we'll continue to apply for projects that are CDBG eligible each year. And then street improvement program, whether reconstruct or resurfacing. The city is getting additional funding through the Act 51 gas tax funds starting this year. So we have upped the budget for street improvements. And if you go to the back of the packet that I passed out, there is a map that highlights the streets that were rated 1 through 3 back when we last did the Paiser rating study in 2023. So those streets that are in pink were rated a 1 or 2, which would be very poor or failing. Those highlighted in yellow were rated a 3, which are borderline fair to poor. And then also in the back, there's a summary of the streets that were rated a 1 or a 2 and what the cost would be to reconstruct those streets in 2025 dollars, which comes out to $5.8 million for those streets. And then there's also a handful of streets that were rated 3 in 2023 that would now be rated a 2 or a 1 or a 2 at this point. We added that to the list too, which is another $5.3 million in reconstructs. Darren Palucci, the DPW director, and myself did go look at some of the streets that were rated 1 or 2 recently to try to get an idea of what streets we want to accomplish in the next fiscal year. On this list, we were looking at Beck from Willoughby to Haas, Mabray from Willoughby to Haas, which would be just the section that has an asphalt cap on it currently. The section that's concrete is in fair condition. The same with Ridgecroft from Willoughby to Haas, and then a section of Holbrook from Petersburg to Beaconsfield. The easterly half of that is very poor. The westerly half of that is in fair condition, so there would be a mix of a reconstruct on the east half. The west half would have some patching. So the column, or the numbers on the far right of that summary, in replacement program, we do have the phase 1 project, which was the first part of Gratiot on southbound Gratiot from 9 to 8 Mile. Along with a couple residential streets, we have the annual payment on the loan for that, roughly $358,000. And then phase 2, which we just completed last year, which finished all the water main along Gratiot, in addition to several residential streets, is a very small annual payment because we got a grant for a portion of that, over $8 million in grant funding. There was a large portion that was paid directly from the city water and sewer fund, and then there was a loan just for the lead water service replacement portion, which was just under $1 million. So over a 20-year period, there's a small loan repayment there of just over 30 grand. And then we have a budgeted amount for each year to do water main replacements, which haven't been decided yet. There are several streets that we know that need to be replaced. There's several 6-inch water mains out there that need to be upgraded to 8-inch water mains. The DPW does have a list of those mains, and we still have to identify which ones we want to tackle next. And on the sewer side, the city is still paying back a state revolving fund loan for sewer rehabilitation that took place in 2012. That's a 20-year loan. There's an annual payment in the plan for that. The city did complete a citywide sewer cleaning and televising program. We finished that in early 2024, and the plan would be to complete that cycle again. It's recommended that that be done every 5 to 7 years, so we'd be looking at repeating that cycle again starting in the 28-29 fiscal year. And then we recently have been approved for another state revolving fund loan to do sewer rehabilitation based upon the results of the cleaning and televising that was recently completed, addressing critical and high priority locations, primarily south of 9 Mile and east of Gratiot. That is a $4.875 million project, so there would again be a 20-year loan. There'd be a payback on that once the job is completed. And then we've been putting $750,000 in the budget for additional sewer rehabilitation, which we would have in there each year as well as a $250,000 catch basin repair program. And that is the update to the infrastructure maintenance plan for this year. And if you have any questions, I will answer them.
I have a quick question for you.
Sure.
It's with respect.
Lexington, 9 Mile to Phlox, or to Cimarron.
Yes.
To Cimarron.
Yes.
If you were to get in your car and drive down to Lexington and 10 Mile Road and get out of your car and say, wow, this is much worse than near 9 Mile Road, would you change that then?
So it's possible, I guess a couple factors into that. We are due to re-rate the streets this year. At some point this year, we'll be doing that. We did SEMCOG did have a grant program out there to pay for the study to do the ratings again. We're waiting back to hear if we get that. We should hear about that any time here. So SEMCOG could potentially be paying for the entire study on that. But once that study's done, some of those streets could change. Something that was rated a 3 or a 4 3 years ago could now be a 1 or a 2 and could move up the list potentially as a priority. But, you know, between our office, the DPW, and council and administration, we would be we're continually looking at the priorities. They change all the time based on the street conditions, but it's possible that things could move up, and Lexington could move up the list potentially.
So on Lexington near 9 Mile, you're going to put in a water main, is that?
We're putting new water main.
And that will start when and end when, we can't do the street until that's done, right?
Once the water main is complete on 9 Mile, that same contractor is doing the water main on Lexington. We are expecting the water main on Lexington to probably start in May, and the road project in August.
So since there's nothing going on at 10 Mile and Lexington, you could do that a lot earlier than August, right? I'm just wondering. I know a lot of wonderful people who live on Lexington, so.
Does anyone have any other questions? All right, thank you, Ms. Kern.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, can I put the screens up?
Yes.
Thank you. No, not yet. Oh, right, sorry. Sorry, I forgot. We have this hearing of the public.
Okay. Okay, our next item is hearing of the public, and I do believe we have someone that is via Zoom. They will have 3 minutes to speak, and the floor is yours. If he's ready, if we're ready. Okay. All right, can you hear us, sir? Mr. Blackwell, I believe. Okay, we can't hear you, sir. We can see you, but we can't hear you. No, still nothing.
Cannot.
No, we can't hear anything. Bear with us, please.
Represented to me that the city of Eastpointe would be figuring out a way for me to appear via Zoom and make public comment pursuant to the Americans with Disabilities Act. At the last meeting, that did not happen. Someone dropped the ball, and Mayor Kleinfeld did not follow back up with me via phone, email, or anything to say, hey, I'm sorry that I told you that we would get this figured out, and it never happened. So be leery of when Mayor Kleinfeld states something to you. Secondly, I would like to state that the city of Eastpointe does not protect or enforce people with disabilities rights. I have been emailing city of Eastpointe officials daily asking for disability accommodations to appear via Zoom for weeks and weeks and weeks. I got ignored and ignored and ignored, and finally today, the city decided to comply with the federal law to allow me to appear via Zoom. Lastly, I would like to state that State Senator Veronica Kleinfeld's office was totally unhelpful. Senator Kleinfeld's office told me that, well, she doesn't get involved with local affairs. How can someone be in Lansing representing local citizens and then tell the very same citizens that they represent?
Beginning that conversation again about how the city and the school district can continue to work together well. On May 5th, Eastpointe voters will see a non-homestead operating millage on the ballot. The purpose of this funding is to help us keep great teachers in our classrooms, maintain strong academic programs, update technology, and provide important student supports, such as counseling and intervention. Currently, we levy $5.7 million annually to the schools, but because of the Headley rollback, our current operating millage has been reduced, costing our school district about $704,000 annually. This proposal will restore those lost mills and add a small cushion to protect against future rollbacks. Every registered voter in Eastpointe can vote on this proposal, and election day is May 5th, with absentee voting beginning on March 26th. Secondly, I'd like to invite City Council to support our school district community. We launched this year Little Shamrocks Basketball. And on Saturday mornings at Eastpointe High School, there on 9 Mile, you can watch Crescentwood versus Forest Park or Pleasant View versus Bellevue. And I brought for city council the schedule that remains. We have one game here this Saturday, March 7th, and then we will have the playoff final games on March 21st. I have not experienced community.
For the record, and you'll have 3 minutes.
Thank you. My name is Kathleen Simlar, and I work for AARP Michigan. I'm here to raise the alarm about a kind of crypto fraud that has become a growing threat across the country, including right here in Eastpointe. You've probably seen these crypto ATMs or kiosks at gas stations and party stores. If you search for them on Google Maps, you'll see they are peppered throughout your community. They look just like any regular ATM, but they're increasingly being used to defraud people of their hard-earned money. In fact, cryptocurrency kiosk fraud is skyrocketing. According to the FBI, in 2024, Michiganders lost more than $125 million to these scams, and 85% of those victims were over the age of 60, and that has gotten AARP's attention. Older people are clearly in the crosshairs for these scams, and that should make you pause since 21% of your population falls within that demographic. Here's how these scams work. Someone calls or texts claiming you owe them money and always frames their message with a sense of heightened urgency. You're told to deposit cash into the crypto kiosk and then instructed to give them the code that appears on the screen. The money is then converted instantly into cryptocurrency, and basically it disappears. Quite often the scammer will keep the victim on the hook, sending them back again and again to the crypto ATM to give more money. And unlike credit card fraud, this money is nearly impossible to recover. Incredibly, some studies have shown that 93% of transactions on these crypto ATMs are scams. To protect your residents, and AARP is urging you to do so. Where can I give these? Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, council people, ladies and gentlemen, Mayor Pro Tem. I'm here again because the fees for this rental property inspection is going out the roof. I got a final notice. I want to quickly go through the order of events again. I bought this house in 2023 from Mark Leone, not 2022. It had a 2-year rental agreement. The tenant was evicted in January of 23. I hired William Jerzak, the attorney. William Jerzak and I got into the court system, and he told me to stay out of the property until the court is settled. Judge Kathleen G. Galen, right up here at Eastpointe, on Thursday, June 12th of 2025, gave us permission back to the house, access to the facility. Going back into that facility after June, I came right down here in July, and I paid the $200 inspection fee. And at that time, I got a notice that I was late from John Myers. So I paid the $200 anyway, and I asked to speak to him. I haven't spoke to him since. I've been here 3 times, and the last time, in January 3rd, I sent out 5 letters, one to each of the combo members. I can name them, and I haven't got a response back yet. But what I did get was a final notice and paid the $950 in fees, even though I already paid the $200 for the inspection. Nobody has contacted me or talked to me. There's 5 letters in here with my name on it.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that wishes to be heard?
God, excuse me. Good evening, council. Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem. Good there. Good there. Good evening, Fire Chief, Police Chief. I'd like to congratulate them, 2 of the most organized divisions of the city. There might be some others, but I've had dealings with them and I know they're good. My neighbors know they're good. I am here, number 1, young lady. My wife got hit for $50,000 5 years ago. every month, every day, the mail comes in and we get these letters to, oh, you've won this, you've won that. On an average, daily, I get 9. I've taken over the mail. My wife is as hard-headed as somebody I know. Well, I'm not looking at you, Harv, am I? Jeez. No, he's not hard-headed. Anyway, I'd like to tell you that this is out there, this mail, and we should somehow have something about it. It is terrible. It is, and they are very vicious. And the Democratic and Republican Party are just as guilty as the scammers. So that's one thing. Next thing, in Michigan, I had too many titles. Most of them was jackass. But anyway, I'm glad that's going on. And I just missed what I was talking about. Anyway, asphalt paving, you have to watch it. Once the joints open up, if you don't get them sealed, you've got trouble. Because water gets underneath, the so-called bond coat that they put underneath there is not as good as what we used to use 30 years ago, and it deteriorates quickly. And knowing the contractors as I did, some of it is crappy. Anyway, other than that, I'm glad to be here. I'm going in for what's called a watchman operation. And while they're in there, they're gonna do some other surgery arthroscopically on my heart. So my wife is keeping me in line. You think I'm a pain in the butt? Woo, come to my house. Good talk tonight. Good talk, young lady. Good talk to everybody. Thank you, and I will be coming back. I will be here, but you still
do some celebrations. The other thing I wanted to ask, good to see you, Ryan, is I was looking for information because when people ask me and I don't know, I start looking for it. So is there a reason why the city manager's contract is not posted online so everybody can see it? And I don't have to deal with some of those types of questions and bug everybody else. I think it's very helpful for the residents of the city to know exactly what we're doing with the city manager and what they're doing for us. The other thing I want to address, didn't know it was going to come up tonight because I had planned to do it next week at the school board meeting. I am not supporting the bond issue. And one of the reasons I'm not supporting that bond issue is because there is considerable waste going on right now with the school district. When we're paying someone over $30,000 a month to do a job, I'm sorry, that doesn't make sense to me. Especially.
Is there anyone else that wishes to be heard?
Larry Edwards, Eastpointe residents. I got an email with a text that the YouTube audio is going in and out. So someone may want to look into that. But I'd like to start out tonight to address some deep issues and concerns of the city of Eastpointe, not to mention of the so-called USA, but want to try to focus on Eastpointe. There is good and there is bad people in the city of Eastpointe, as well as in the world, and what have you. And then there's the ugly. A lot of things are going on that's ugly. The city of Eastpointe's demographic is part-time workers with no benefits. and what have you. I attend these meetings, been stretching out somewhat, trying to attend others. And when I look at the setup, it looks to me almost like it's stacked against the people that's representative of this city. And it ultimately comes out and turns out to be, well, that's really the case. Whether it's intentionally or unintentionally, that's the outcome of stuff that's blatantly should be looked at different. But because of the being so stacked and what have you, the indigenous people seem like always come at the short end of the stick. And with my 20-some seconds and everything, I'm just gonna have to end it for now until the second round and what have you. And there's gonna be a change. It's gonna come a change. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and City Council. My name is Vicki Brooks, and I'm the former Personnel Deputy Director laid off on September 3rd as a result of a City Council budget amendment reducing the funded amount of my position by $25,000. As you recall, on September 2nd, $2 an hour, and the position was filled. I would further like this council to be aware that based on civil service requirements, my name should be placed on the layoff reemployment list, and my name should be placed on the eligibility list for my classifications. I have submitted a Freedom of Information request, and my name is not on either of those lists. Finally, I invite you all to review the Ethics Board Commission meeting on YouTube dated February 18th, 2026, where I requested an investigation be conducted as I feel my layoff was direct retaliation for making public former temporary city manager Elkie Doom's discriminatory practices to the City Council. Thank you.
Jennifer Nicholas, Eastpointe resident. I have a couple questions here. Mr. Mattis, you can probably answer this. There's not been any that they needed to be open and operating by December 31st, and they were not open until February 1st of this year. So I don't know if you changed the criteria, but nothing has ever been discussed publicly. And I know Mayor Kleinfeld had asked if there was anything that you would be able to share that's not considered attorney-client privilege from the closed session meeting. I know we were talking about 9 Mile, that you are doing the water main repair. I've still not seen a design for 9 Mile for between Kelly Road and I-94. I don't think it's been presented to City Council yet. But it sounds like plans are moving ahead without any design being approved. I was wondering if there's going to be another traffic study done now that gas station number 16 is open and operating at 9 Mile and Beaconsfield, which I think is going to increase the traffic flow. I know there was discussions of a median in that area, which I still don't understand how that's going to work with the amount of traffic, with that being the only grocery store in the city. We have the Secretary of State's office there. And again, Sheetz is open and operating, so why we would eliminate the center lane and put a median there, I'm just not sure.
From administration, we'll start with our city manager, Mr. Mattis.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and Council, and everyone here. Lots going on. We're staying pretty busy. As Mr. Kern told us, work's beginning on 9 Mile Road for Phase 3 this week. You'll see action out there as well as orange barrels. 'Tis the season. This morning, I got to attend the Board of Review organizational meeting. So the Board of Review will be meeting next week. Those are posted. They were in the paper. They're online, all that good stuff for any issues for the Board of Review. And there's lots of progress being made. We're looking a lot at process. That's one of my favorite things. Moving forward with the budget, that's in process. So you'll be seeing that before too long, but I won't steal Randy's thunder on that. Looking at all the different things we do on a given day, which the list can be long. Working on some just standard operating procedures. Our building department has been instituting these, and they're very helpful to have just standard operating procedures. And there's lots going on with elections too. So as Superintendent Gibson mentioned, we've got a May 5th election, and then we'll have a primary as well as another one in November. So it'll be a busy election season here in Eastpointe. Also, we do know that there are some issues with our audiovisual system. So thank you for pointing that out. We're looking at it. We met with our provider who installed it a little bit ago, and we're looking at a couple solutions. You'll see that when we get to the budget, we've got.
But yeah, budget is pretty much all that's been worked on, even though it's the city manager budget. About 80% of it comes out of the finance department, and that is what's being worked on. The departments will be doing the write-ups over the next 2 weeks, so we can get the booklet prepared and ready for council on the first meeting in April. I'm not giving away any highlights at this point, but it's being worked on, and that's all I have, so.
All right, thank you. Any questions for our finance director? All right, seeing none, we'll go over to our city attorney, Mr. Albright.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Baker. Short report section this evening. Council's in receipt of our monthly status report. I also attached several status reports from Attorney Ferrand as well. Again, I'm happy to answer any questions regarding those, what's contained in those.
Okay. Any questions for our city attorney?
Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, moving right into new business. Item A, adoption of resolution number 26-2014, blanket permit for general road maintenance, Macomb County Department of Roads.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, I would move to adopt resolution number 26-2014, blanket permit for general road maintenance, Macomb County Department for Roads for the period of February 1st, 2026 to February 1st, 2032.
I would move to give second reading and to adopt ordinance number 26-1255, updating the city ordinances to the 2021 edition of the International Property Maintenance Code.
Is there support?
Support.
We have motion and support. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Shadlick?
Yes.
Councilmember Scott?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Baker?
Yes.
Councilmember Curley.
Yes.
All right, item C, approval to reschedule the May 5th, 2026 City Council meeting. Mr. Matt.
Speak to that?
Yes, please.
As discussed, May 5th is Election Day in Eastpointe. And so the chambers will be busy. We have a couple of options as outlined in your packet. We do have scheduled for May 12th and 13th. Those evenings we'll have budget workshops. So we could call a special city council meeting if we needed to somewhere in there, but we will be meeting quite a bit the following week. If you would prefer that we cancel the May 5th election and add a little bit more to the last April meeting and the second May meeting, that's also an option. So I leave that up to council to decide.
Well, I know personally I don't feel that we need a special meeting, but that's just my opinion. And I guess the administration can divvy out agenda items as necessary, unless there's something that I'm not seeing.
And if there was a reason to call a special meeting, we could do that for whatever time needed to, in all the normal ways.
Okay, party search, but also not being mindful of the attorney-client privilege items.
Sorry to interrupt, but I will interrupt if we run into that, and Mr. Albright will as well. There is privileged information related to it, so if we need to, flag on the field, we will blow the whistle. But.
All right. Okay. Well, since it was my item, I guess I'll lead it off. There was a few questions that I had, and I'll just start off with questions regarding HR. We do know that there was a budget amendment that created a layoff of our deputy director of personnel. And as was mentioned during a hearing of the public, it was stated that it was a council request. Being that I didn't see it at a city council meeting, my first question would be, who from council requested it? Or do you have that information? Because I feel like that's something that we should have discussed publicly, but being that I was at all the council meetings, it wasn't at the table.
That question predates my time with the city, so I can't speak to process.
Okay. Yeah. My inquiry came in at. Also currently, well, moving forward, I also would like to know, what is the plan for the HR responsibilities? How are we planning to move forward with HR duties?
Sure. So right now, HR duties are handled by myself. I consult with Assistant City Manager Holman quite a bit on those items as well. A lot of the day-to-day is handled by either Brianna Parsons, our administrative assistant specialist. I messed up her title, I'm sorry, but she's on leave currently, so we are eager to get her back. We have temporarily filled that position in the meantime, and Paige Alderman has been helping with the postings, the filings, the things like that need to happen to make HR go.
Okay. Okay, well, that was my next question. If somebody had been put into that position, so, and you said this is a temporary position?
Ms. Alderman, yes.
Okay.
Yep. And future plans to be determined. I'm still working on that. It's in front of me. It was filled because Ms. Parsons is unavailable. And so temporary, per our definition, as I remember, we were able to place someone in a temporary role with the same duties for up to 90 days is what I believe is in civil service rules, maybe 120.
120 days?
Yep. And so knowing that Brianna wouldn't be available for a short time, we filled her duties with Ms. Alderman.
Okay. So I'm just asking, make sure I got it right. So a temporary position can be filled for up to 120 days. And that did not have to go to civil service, or did that go through civil service?
Because it's temporary in the same role, it did not, and we discussed it there. I don't have that memo in front of me, but I know I dove into that question. You'll find it there in their minutes, and if Kim wants to add to it, she may.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, yes, it is a temporary but part-time position because there are no benefits attached to it. And the hours fluctuate based on how much paperwork needs to be done.
And part-time positions don't normally go to civil service.
That one actually I did know with part-time. So, okay, and I'm just trying to make sure that I have a full understanding of kind of where we're at and what's going on. So I guess my question.
Process that employees with an issue with the city manager go to, I'm not sure where. It could be the city attorney. It could be a designated department head who has human resources experience. I'm not sure that we have a documented process. So we've defaulted to what we were doing prior to, I believe it was 2019, that the role was created of someone committed to HR. Resorting to that process, I don't know that we have a documented, this is where you go with those issues. I've talked about it a little bit with department heads. We'll continue that conversation because I'm not sure at this time what the answer is. But we will work on that. I'll consult with our city attorney as well for best practices. What should we do? What's recommended?
Okay, and I appreciate that honesty. I mean, you know.
I have a question. Okay, so you said Brianna Parson took on some of the workload that Ms. Woods was doing? Is that correct?
Brooks.
Ms. Brooks? Vicki?
Yes.
Okay, so with her taking on some of the workload, is she compensated more for doing that?
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, if I may.
Yes.
As before me.
So she did not take on the responsibilities that Ms. Brooks would.
The filing and posting and all that stuff.
Okay. Being that, and this is just me trying to understand the process, if the HR duties are added, and I understand that there was things she was being trained by Ms. Brooks to do, if there is more added to her job, does that change, or that change in description? And I think that it might be what you were alluding to earlier. Does that change in description have to go before civil service?
It would if it changed, and it probably will at some point, but it hasn't changed yet.
Okay, but so moving forward, it will.
It became more of her time has been committed to the filing and posting than previously, as I understand it. But her overall job description hasn't changed. Nature of the question.
Yeah, Mayor Pro Tem, it would probably be, Mr. Mattis would most likely come to our office first. We'd hear what he had to say, identify what the issues were, and it might be something that we can respond to fairly quickly. Or if it's something a little bit more detailed, then we'd refer Mr. Mattis over to Labor Council. I may be a part of that conversation, I may not. I know that Brandon, over the years, a lot of times the city manager would just reach out to him, knowing that, he was kind of the go-to person on those types of issues, but, we're always available as well.
Okay. Does that, and sorry, I didn't know I was going to ask that, but does that fall under your normal retainer, or would that just be, I know, that quarterly charge based off of?
The Labor Council has a separate retainer with the city of Eastpointe. In fact, I think, Randy, wasn't it up in 2025 for an increase?
Yes, and they actually don't have a retainer. They bill by the hour.
By the hour.
So we don't call them, we don't pay them.
Right.
Okay.
And what is, do you, off the top of your head, Randy, is it something like 160? Is it in that, per hour?
I'd say 165, but I'd have to go back and find the
Yeah, it's somewhere in that ballpark. I think it was increased to 165. Prior to that, I don't know what the actual amount was.
Again, I'll take that since Ryan wasn't here. After the public comments on the 3rd from Ms. Brooks, it was deemed to be appropriate that an investigation be conducted just to satisfy the public in their wanting to know. It was discussed with Mayor Kleinfeld. We knew the amount would not be significant. We went to Brandon Fournier, our labor attorney. He did not want to do it because of his relationship with Eastpointe. He did go out and look for other entities that could do these, that he knew did these investigations, but made sure that they did not have any relationship with Eastpointe or Ms. Brooks' former employer of Oak Park. He narrowed it down to 2 firms. The original one he had talked to, they had agreed to do it and then realized it was a conflict with a vacation, so they dropped out. And so we moved on to the second firm to have them conduct the investigation.
Okay, so based off of the labor attorney's recommendation, you got administration decided who to go with. And you said the first firm, it was a conflict. Is that what
I heard? Yeah, they had agreed to do it. Then about a week later, they came back and said it was going to conflict with a vacation they had scheduled. So they dropped out. And so then we just had, the investigation was all run through the labor attorney. There was no involvement from administration on selecting the firm, the labor attorney, intentionally to keep administration from influencing anything.
Okay. Okay, so basically in a nutshell, there was some clarification that I was seeking in regards to this matter. And based off of some things that were discussed, some things were said to have come from members of council. And then I just knowing that there were meetings, that it didn't happen at a meeting, that's why I needed clarification as to where that originated from.
Can I ask Randy a question? Was that added to the agenda in the regular way? I know the council bylaws give a timeline for any council member to put something on the agenda. Did the request to add that to the agenda meet that criteria?
The request began in the beginning of August, once we figured out what the proper process would be. Again, consulting with the labor attorney, it was probably mid-August. The budget amendment was finalized August 20th, excuse me, August 20th, and then placed on the September 3rd council meeting.
Thanks.
Okay.
Okay. So I think, I mean, and I guess one of the other things that kind of concerned me was just the fact that it seemed like we were already at a determination of what to do, that we feel we should do moving forward concerning this. And I'm just, you know, I want everybody to have a chance to say something or add something if they so choose. And since his name was mentioned, I feel like it's fair to give him that opportunity also to speak on his behalf.
So can I interject? So you would like to see kind of a similar agenda item for the next meeting?
Yes. Just to see if, I'm sorry, you were gonna.
No, I was just gonna follow up with if there are questions that are gonna require research, it might be helpful if council members want to ask those ahead of time. You can submit those to me via email would be easiest. That way I can make sure we find those answers if you're looking for them. And again, we'll share what we can, and if there's privileged information, we'll let you know.
Oh, we understand that. Okay, yeah, just to see if anybody from the council feels like there's anything that we need to look into further. I know just tonight we heard that there were people, there were names mentioned that didn't get interviewed. But I feel like it's fair to just try to discuss that with the full body up here and see what we feel like we need to do in regards to that. And just to make sure that we're as thorough and complete and fair and transparent as possible. So, being that we were told tonight that there were witnesses that were not interviewed, is there a way that we can verify that or find out why?
It's something that I can consult with Labor Council and have that discussion with Mr. Fournier, with Mr. Mattis present as well, and get as much information that we can divulge. And if that requires, or if we're able to do that during an open meeting, that would be wonderful. But if it's something that is subject to attorney-client privilege or is under the threat of possible civil litigation, we can have that discussion in a closed session.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, if I may.
Yes.
Our city manager's not going to be at the March 17th meeting. Is it possible that this topic, due to the importance, could go on to the first meeting in April?
Yeah, you did tell us that. Yes, because if you're not here, then, well, you can't come back with the information or anything if you're not here present. So when we have a full body and our city manager. Second, hearing of the public. Is there anyone who wishes to be heard? Let me get my stopwatch again. All right. Thank you.
Good evening. My name again is Vicki Brooks. I'd like to bring some clarity to some things that were said in the last discussion. One of the things that was said that Ms. Brianna was given a raise to perform HR duties. Ms. Brianna was hired as an administrative assistant and had no HR duties. She was then made HR administrative specialist, and HR duties were added in because she said that she wanted to know about HR. After I left, She was then given an additional raise that is, as far as I know, I did do a FOIA, Freedom of Information request. She was given almost a $7 an hour raise to do HR duties, but those duties, as explained here, were already in her job description. So she was given an additional raise to do HR duties over and beyond what's already in her job description. So I wanted to make sure that this council understood that fact. And then we had to take it to the Civil Service Board to be approved before we could hire him temporarily. So I wanted to make those two things clear, temporarily. So I wanted to make those two things clear. Thank you.
Once again, I'm Howard Robinson. I'm coming back to try to see if I can get a commitment to end this problem tomorrow. Either this is a computer-generated set of fees. Nobody has signed a letter. It is 500 and some odd % higher than a normal late fee. First of all, I'm not late, as I mentioned before, but I want to settle this because I need to move on with my life. I don't need to spend time in these meetings with the same issue that's been around since last June. It doesn't make sense to take this long. I worked for the federal government 26 years. I should have got a response from one of these 5 letters. That's what public service do. That's what civil service do. That's what good business people do. So can I get a commitment tonight to bring you a check tomorrow and amount tomorrow? I'll sit here until the end because I want to move on with my life.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that wishes to be heard?
Be a little more accommodating and make sure that the business side of what they need is taken care of so that they want to stay. You know, we have to do better. And just listening to the discussion regarding Ms. Brooks, and I'm going all off target here because this is not part of something I wanted to say, but what's the problem? It sounds like some conflict, some lack of transparency, some bias somewhere. You know, how the heck do you pay a bill with no invoice and knowing exactly what it is you're paying for? This is the kind of issue that's going on with the school district. They're paying bills and nobody knows what the heck they're paying for, which is one of the reasons why I will not support that bond issue. And I discourage anyone else from supporting it until they're willing to be more transparent about what they're doing with the funding they have access to. Our property taxes are what funds all of this. And we need to do better if we want to see better from everyone in this city. Have a good evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that wishes to be heard?
Jennifer Nicholas, Eastpointe resident. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Baker, for initiating that discussion. I'm kind of confused. I'm not sure exactly how city administration works, but I wasn't aware that a council person and a mayor could just unilaterally decide to eliminate someone's job. Is that how it works? September 2nd city council meeting where this was discussed, Mayor Kleinfeld had said that administration had identified an outside agency to investigate the original allegations that Ms. Brooks made on August 27th via email to council members and the ethics board. That was specifically for concerns that she had about practices, human resources practices in the workplace. She thought that there were problems with it. So my understanding is that investigation, since it was started prior to September 2nd, prior to the budget amendment being approved and prior to her being terminated, that investigation was just for her issues in the workplace. I'm not sure if there's been an investigation regarding her termination and how that all came about. And maybe that might be something that our labor attorney might want to initiate to get a little more clarity, because it seems like a lot of people weren't interviewed. None of council members were interviewed, so I'm assuming that the circumstances surrounding her termination have not been investigated.
Board of Ethics, I was there as well. And I was confused with some things and what have you. One being with the new city manager being there as representative of some sort. Because he's totally green, totally new to all this here. What could he possibly represent? And what have you, other than being at the learn? Because there was questions asked to him that he knows nothing about, as well as legal questions. And I don't believe he has an attorney, but it will deal with everything in your heart to tell you who you are. And we as indigenous people and what have you, and even beyond that and what have you, because of the history, the most accurate piece of information in the literature that we have of any history, everything you find within the Bible and what have you, and then you compare this other stuff to what that says to see how accurate it is and what have you.
You have 30 seconds.
You find that upon telling you who you are and what have you, that it dealt with
No. No. Did you know that there is a move on Facebook for people in Eastpointe to take a survey on whether or not they want Stevens to become well, they call it a greenway now. And it's set up from Little Mac all the way over into Oakland County. It was put forth by a former councilman, Mr. Carty, and his group, and I don't think it's right. I have a lot of friends that have businesses here, and they got enough with the taxes we've already put on their butts. We don't need more taxes. And like I said earlier, I guess there's two groups that aren't the best. And thank you, good evening. And you still look good up there. Oh my God.
Thank you, Mr. Lamo. He's the only one that gets me like that. I don't even know how he does it. Is there anyone else who wishes to be heard? All right, seeing none, the second hearing of the public is closed.
I don't know if that's going to be a decision. I don't know if that's going to be a decision. If it's this decision we have to make eventually, we ought to be able to have some up-to-date information on that. Number two, the gentleman with the house thing, I don't know, maybe somebody from the administration can catch him before he leaves and make an appointment and get the thing settled. I know he's been here many times with the conversation, so I'd like to see somebody approach him before, so don't leave right away so they can get up there and talk to him. Number three, I got to have something more than a blank piece of paper. I like to know, I got to have something more than a blank piece of paper. I like to know when it started, the justification for the termination, whatever that you can give to me so I can ask some intelligent questions. And that would be kind of nice. The last thing, I have such a heavy heart today because of the war that we're fighting. The 6 Americans and that might be a higher figure, but it was reported so far 6 Americans have been killed. We may have boots on the ground there. I hope not. And I know we've got a lot of problems. We have got a lot of problems that were talked about tonight, but something's got to change, folks. And I know what your political persuasion is, but we won't talk about that. But all I know is this America's going to hell right now, and they don't even have the basket. So pray for that. Pray for the families particularly, and I know we got to pray for everybody. But my first thought was all the moms and the dads and the brothers and the sisters.
And if he's unavailable to attend our council meeting, maybe he could put in writing his perspective of what's going on with this matter so that we can have clear understanding of what either has been done, needs to be done, and so we can have an accurate dialogue back and forth. But I don't want you, I know the last few meetings that you've attended, you've left before the end, but I did have a conversation with him in regards to that matter. So I don't want you to feel like you're going unheard. That conversation did take place, and so we'll try to get closeness in age. That's what it is. It's our closeness in age.
You're just a puppy.
To our visitor that came out first time, Mr. Michael, I believe it is. Thank you for coming out. As you can see, there's good and there's pleasant and not so pleasant or not so easy conversations that happen here at this table, but necessary conversations. We appreciate you taking an interest in our city and to see how things run here at the council meeting, and we just ask that this doesn't be your last time. So thank you for coming out. With that, that is pretty much all that I have.
15.26A, parent 1, parent A.
Support.
All right, we got a motion and support with the proper reading of the number. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Shadlick?
Yes.
Councilmember Curley?
Yes.
Councilmember Scott?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Baker?
Yes. All right, going into closed session at 8:48 p.m. Well, we don't need. All right, everybody, are we ready? All right, we're going back into open session at 9:15 PM. Next item is